Two big tech names are finally coming out with their latest smartphone to try to get into a market that's been dominated by Apple and Android. That's Microsoft and Nokia coming out with the new Lumia. And here with the review is the big W, Walt Mossberg. How you doing, Walt?
I'm good, George. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So just fast forwarding to the end of the review, you call the new phone a mixed bag with too many drawbacks to recommend versus its rivals. Let's start with what you liked about the phone.
Well, I like it. It's a nice design. It's plastic, but it's very solid. It's one solid piece of plastic. You can see that you can get it in blue, which is not typical. And it has a bright, roomy screen. It has 4G LTE at least in those cities where AT&T has deployed LTE, so that's fast. And it has an 8-megapixel camera. And in my test, the voice calls were good and the data speed was fast.
But what did you dislike?
Well, and I should say one other thing. This is not just another phone. This is the kind of hero or halo phone that they're hoping will propel Windows Phone, which looks different, is a handsome, distinctive user interface, will help to actually begin to get traction with both consumers and developers. So for a halo or hero device, it really had to be good, and I was disappointed on several points. The most important one was the web browser, which is a mobile version of Internet Explorer. I have tested previous Windows phones, and the web browser was fine. On this phone, when it was on Wi-Fi, it stalled frequently before a page was fully loaded, and I went immediately and got Android, iPhone, even an older Windows phone. All of them performed fine on the same network at the same spot. This one stalled, so that was a problem. I also felt that the battery life, while it was probably adequate for light to moderate use, when I tried to do things like stream a Netflix movie or hold a 1-hour phone conversation, did a lot of other web stuff, I saw that it was running down pretty low late in the afternoon. And finally, the camera. It's a Carl Zeiss lens, they say. It's 8 megapixels. But when compared with the latest iPhone camera, which is also 8 megapixels and has become extremely popular on all the photo sites, so it's kind of a standard now on cell phones, I thought the pictures this took were way oversaturated and not as detailed as on the iPhone 4S.
Interesting.
Hi, well, this is Jen. It was interesting to me that this phone is just $100, so you would still not recommend it despite the fact that it seems, relatively well priced compared with some of the other more popular phones out there?
Well, you got to remember there's lots of $100 smartphones. There may not be the very top of the line ones, but there's a whole bunch of $100 Android phones, and there's even a $100 iPhone. The iPhone 4, the just prior model, is $100, and so yes, $100 is a great thing. Although I will point out, AT&T says that's a limited time price. They don't say what the limit of the time is. But yeah, I agree with you. $100 is a good thing, Jen. I just don't think if you're on Wi-Fi and the web browser isn't working right, then saving that $100 may not be such a saving.
Right.
Hey, given the head start that Apple has with its ecosystem and Android has, and even RIM, which while declining still has a significant part of the market, is there a need for another Halo system? Is there room for Windows and Nokia to squeeze in?
I absolutely think so. I think it's good for look, consumers have these two major choices now. I'm not counting BlackBerry for the moment. They have these two major choices. There's no reason why they wouldn't benefit from having a third major choice. And Microsoft has done a basically good job with this operating system. But people they don't judge the software and the phone separately. They want a whole package. This is the best Windows Phone I have tested, but it's not quite good enough, I don't think, compared to the best Android phones or the latest iPhone. And so they have to keep going, and they have plans to keep going. And George, yeah, I do think, I'm not saying it's over for them by any means, and I'm not even saying that some people might not like this phone. I'm just saying it's a little bit disappointing given that the role it was expected to carry. But I'm not giving up on Windows Phone or Nokia.
So you've been testing Windows phones for a while now. Has the ecosystem there, have you seen it improving and seen more apps coming along, things like that, or is it still kind of as behind as it was previously?
That's a great question, and I appreciate your asking it. It has improved, but but the other guys aren't standing still, so it's way behind in two ways. One is the number of apps. It has 70,000 apps, and Apple is approaching 600,000. And the last time I checked, Android was over 450,000. Now, some people might say, well, those numbers are so large, it begins not to make a difference. But it does make a difference because there are a lot of developers who are not doing Windows Phone at all, or they're doing it as an afterthought. And that's a kind of chicken and egg problem. You know, if it sells more, they'll do the apps, but if they don't do the apps, it may have trouble selling more, and Microsoft has to solve that. The other part of the ecosystem is media and content. There is a music store on here. You can get a version of the Kindle app on here for books, but you cannot buy TV shows or movies on here directly from the phone, and you can do that on an iPhone and on Android phones. So that's a part of the ecosystem they also need to work hard on, and it's another disadvantage right now that Windows phones have.